Here's your news for December 17, 2019. We're starting off with news from Monday Night Raw this week, as the company has filmed 2 episodes of the Red Brand this week in Des Moines, Iowa. This week's show was also filmed with a 45-minute pre-tape, and though the episode hasn't aired yet, we already know what will happen. But if you don't want spoilers, please skip the next minute and a half of the video. For example, fans already know that on the December 23rd Raw, Aleister Black will defeat some local enhancement talent and will then be booked for a rematch with Buddy Murphy for the December 30th show. A rematch from their match at TLC, the pair gave arguably the match of the night at the event on Sunday, with Murphy even breaking Black's nose at the show, leading to a lot of blood. That hasn't stopped the Dutchman competing though, as Dave Meltzer reports that Black has been cleared to compete despite the injury and will be in the mood for some revenge on the former Cruiserweight champion. Looking into our crystal ball, we also can see that Rey Mysterio vs Seth Rollins will take place in a United States title match on next week's Raw, and that the December 30th episode will also feature the wedding of Lana and Bobby Lashley. Not only will the December 30th show be the last Raw of 2019, it will also be the last Raw of the decade, as it's been a crazy 10 years for the Red Brand, full of shocking returns, sad retirements, and everything in between. Spoilers over! We are looking back to this past Sunday's TLC pay-per-view, and while the show may have delivered with such little time to book the show, some major names weren't there. According to Dave Meltzer, neither Triple H nor Vince McMahon were backstage at the pay-per-view, though the pair did phone in on a conference call to help put the show together, according to the boss's wishes. Meltzer also noted that it was Paul Heyman who was the one telling the announcers what to say, and while the advocate for the Beast took charge of the Raw matches, Bruce Pritchard led the SmackDown matches. It may be a while before the boss and the game take a break though, as the general consensus is that the show was handled poorly, and an example of this is what happened to Kairi Sane, who should have received medical attention after her nasty spot instead of taking more dangerous bumps and a possible concussion. During the match, Sane took a nasty bump outside the ring and then continued the match and took one nasty bump after another. Though Sane executed all of the planned spots that we can tell, the physicality of what happened to her has worried fans, and even Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair have commented on Sane's toughness after the match. If the Japanese superstar is hurt though, she's hiding it well, as Sane did tweet out a thumbs up emoji in response. As of this video, the Pirate Princess is not cleared to wrestle, as the future is unclear on the Kabuki Warriors and their tag team titles. Speaking of tag team champions, TLC was a good night for the New Day, who retained their SmackDown tag team titles against the Revival. We don't know just how much longer this reign will last, but we do know that Kofi Kingston is here to stay, as he has just signed a new 5-year contract with the company. The former WWE champion broke the news on the New Day's podcast while discussing injuries and how they affect their daily lives, while speaking to Big E and the currently injured Xavier Woods. Time will tell whether Kofi ever returns to the main event and regains the WWE Championship he lost in seconds to Brock Lesnar on SmackDown, but what we do know is that the Ghanaian superstar isn't going anywhere. From 1 star remaining to 1 returning now, as Liv Morgan is on her way back to WWE, but this may be a much different Morgan than what fans are used to. In the newest promos for the young superstar, fans got a bit more depth into what WWE is planning, as Morgan seems to be washing away any semblance of her former self. She said, "One day I woke up and I'd reflected on the girl I'd been, where she was, where she wasn't, that girl who had let her friends tell her what to do and how to be and how to act, how to dress. All I ever wanted was to be comfortable in my own skin. I've always been so self-destructive. Now I have no choice. I have to destroy myself so the real me can emerge." We have no idea what WWE is planning for Morgan, who was spotted several months ago sat in the rain, and although fans have speculated on the Riot Squad member being the vessel for Bray Wyatt's sister Abigail, this now looks unlikely, with both being on different shows. Now, we all know that Vince McMahon will do anything for a storyline, and that attitude was especially true back in the day with the career of Gene Snitsky. In an effort to get fans tuning in, McMahon had Snitsky punt a baby into the crowd and claim it wasn't his fault, and though the character would later have a thing for feet, this was actually legit. While speaking to Hannibal TV, Snitsky went into detail about his love for feet, and revealed that it was he who pitched the idea to incorporate his real-life desires into his character. He said, "I actually have a foot fetish in real life, so I kinda went to Vince and said, hey, if there's any way we could integrate it into the character, I think it would add to the craziness of the character. Because they wanted me to be as big and crazy and psychotic as possible, so I was like, let's try that. And he was like, oh, okay. And it was as simple as that. Later in the interview, Snitsky would also speak about WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas, who has a shoe fetish. But while the former tag champion enjoys getting kicked in the face and stood on with boots, that's not for Snitsky. Instead, the colossal superstar has described himself as a foot connoisseur, though we can't imagine JR or Lawler ever describing the monster heel by that name. Back to WWE TLC now, and while the show saw no titles change hands, it did see the return of Daniel Bryan, who re-emerged with a new throwback look. With shorter hair and a shorter beard, Bryan is ending the 2010s just like he entered it, and Bray Wyatt was also impressed and had plenty to say about his nemesis's big return. Following the pay-per-view, which saw Wyatt defeat The Miz in non-title action, Wyatt sent out a tweet calling the Eco-Warrior a bully and saying he was excited to see D-Bry. This bully allegation presumably comes from the assault Bryan gave the Eater of Worlds after the match, though Wyatt did say that The Miz was tough, and that he, meaning The Fiend, is coming for all of them. With the Bryan and Fiend feud expected to continue until the Royal Rumble, expect both men to have plenty to say this Friday on SmackDown, as both Bryan and Wyatt hope to end the decade with a bang. More TLC-related news now, as though the Revival came up short in their big ladder match against the New Day, the pair could be in for an even bigger contest at January's Royal Rumble. The first pay-per-view of 2020 will be in Houston, Texas, the home of Booker T, and during the TLC kickoff show, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson came out to confront and berate the five-time WCW champion. The self-professed top guys even dared Booker's tag partner Stevie Ray to get back in the ring and face them, and now the Harlem Heat member has responded on social media. Taking to Twitter, Ray said how if the Revival are looking for the Hall of Fame tag team, they won't be hard to find. These were big words by Ray, who was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year, but Scott Dawson doesn't seem scared, as he reminded the former wrestler that this isn't 1997 and warned him don't get dealt with. Just because the Revival teased this match on the TLC kickoff show, that doesn't necessarily mean that Harlem Heat will be getting back in the ring, and we'll just have to wait and see whether the WWE have any plans for the legendary WCW team. We're looking next at the Wednesday Night Wars, as after last week's NXT and Dynamite remarkably ended in a tie for ratings, both companies are trying to make December 18th huge, with WWE using a clever trick. Yesterday, the company revealed that NXT will open this week with Adam Cole's NXT Championship defense against Finn Balor, and that this match will also be presented in a commercial-free format. With this being the last NXT of 2019, WWE is going all out to make this week count, including NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler defending her title against Rhea Ripley. With NXT returning to the USA Network on January 8th, the break may be good for WWE, as the show has more often than not lost to AEW Dynamite in the battle for ratings. And finally today, we're ending with news from Monday Night Raw, as many stars were left reeling from an explosive TLC pay-per-view. Opening the show, Seth Rollins and AOP addressed their new alliance, with the Beast Slayer putting down a simple rule for the Raw locker room: follow him or pay the price. Promising that the AOP will deal with anyone who dares to stand up to the self-professed locker room leader, Rollins told the audience that they weren't going to like what they see tonight, before ending with a disturbing "I'm sorry" to close the segment. In our first match of the night, the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Viking Raiders, suffered their second ever loss since joining the Red brand from NXT. Coming up short to the OC, the pair of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are the same team that defeated Eric and Ivar many months ago, which surely should put them in title contention down the line. It seems like the club have had the Raiders' number on more than one occasion, and if the Vikings want to remain the champions, they need to end this worrying trend. In a squash match, Eric Rowan continued his path of destruction since returning to the Red brand a few months ago, and this time it was Dante Leon's turn to pay the price. In the jobber's defense, Leon did get some distance between himself and Rowan by crawling under the ring, but when he tried to reach the colossal superstar's mysterious cage, he was quickly flattened. Perhaps one day fans will find out what Rowan's been carrying with him all this time, but for now, Rowan's big secret will remain a secret. Up next, Bobby Lashley and Lana emerged following their TLC victory over Rusev, and unsurprisingly, the pair were in a great mood. In fact, the happy couple wanted to seal their commitment in front of the world, as though Lashley had teased proposing, it was Lana who carried the little black box. Demanding that Lashley propose to her there, that's exactly what the two-time Intercontinental Champion did, and though the pair are hoping for a quiet, private ceremony on next week's Raw, we doubt that'll be the case. Back in the ring, it was time for some gauntlet match action as 6 of Raw's top stars battled for a chance to face United States Champion Rey Mysterio. With R-Truth, Akira Tozawa, Ricochet, Matt Hardy, Humberto Carrillo, and Andrade all battling, it was ultimately Seth Rollins who made the difference, once again flanked by the AOP. While Mysterio had hoped to face his old rival Andrade next week, it was Rollins who received the title match after delivering a 3-on-1 beatdown to the company's ultimate underdog. Though Rollins may call himself a leader, the fact that he doesn't hold championship gold at the moment does undermine his claims, so winning the US title for the second time in his career next week could only help the Beast Slayer. In women's division action, NXT's Deonna Purrazzo got her first shot at making an impression on Raw, but her dreams of a big win were blocked by Asuka. Even without Kairi Sane with her, the Empress of Tomorrow proved to be more than capable of making quick work of the Virtuosa. And while a post-match interview with Becky Lynch led to the man claiming that the company moved her to the tag division because they're afraid of injuring their golden goose, it did remind fans of something else. So far in their careers, Lynch has yet to defeat Asuka, and we can't help but wonder whether this means a Raw Women's title match for the Empress very soon. And in our main event, fans saw a rematch from WrestleMania 35 as AJ Styles took on Randy Orton. Both men have changed dramatically since they battled at the Show of Shows, so it only makes sense that the result was different, as on this occasion, it was the Viper who got the win over the Phenomenal One. Though Styles took the loss, the show ended on a high for the OC, as Gallows and Anderson quickly ambushed the Apex Predator post-match, and even the intervention of the Viking Raiders wasn't enough to topple the club. Styles may have lost the battle this time, but it seems the war is far from over, and it's a war that Styles, Anderson, and Gallows are ready to win.